Welcome back, you guys, and if you watch this channel, you probably saw the Kevin Durant Knicks story pop up back again in the news. I thought, why not make a video about the situation and what I think is true. The tough thing about making this video is that I agree with some of KD's comments about the media pushing half bogus stories and speaking for the person as if they know them.
Y'all come here every day, ask me about free agency, ask my teammates, my coaches, you rile up the fans about it.
I definitely see where KD is coming from, and you can apply some of that to the Knicks story. You got some of the most unreliable basketball reporters of the past 10 years talking about how this is a done deal. Rick Bucher and other large sports media like talking on the Knicks' behalf because of their massive market. It helps their ratings. I know some of the same people that are hyping up this story are going to clown the Knicks if this does not happen. I'll give credit to Knicks fans that I've noticed. Most of them are taking this with a grain of salt and putting more of their hope in the draft lottery. But at the same time, I can't totally agree with KD because some things have been lining up between him and the Knicks. Stories from 2018 have come true, and some of his actions have given ammo to the same people he complains about. Now, in addition to the unreliable reports, there have been stories from reporters that I believe are reliable. They have been covering the Warriors for nearly a decade, and they've said they believe this is his last year in Golden State. This story is out here for a reason, so let's talk about when I started taking this story seriously and how the Knicks have set it up for us to believe. There will be quotes on the screen, so just be prepared to pause the video if needed. So how is Durant connected to the Knicks? Well, for one, his business partner, Rich Kleiman, is a huge Knicks fan. He's the co-founder and partner in the Durant Company and 35 Media. There's one really strange thing that Kleiman did back in May 2018 that I haven't really seen talked about too much. Before the Knicks hired David Fizdale as their head coach, Mark Jackson got a strong behind-the-scenes push to be the Knicks coach from Rich Kleiman, who is close to both Mark Jackson and current Knicks president Steve Mills. I'm not sure what to make of that, but I think we can all agree that it is interesting that someone who isn't an employee of the Knicks is trying to use his friendship with Steve Mills to get them to hire Mark Jackson. So is KD cool with any of the Knicks players? He actually is. Rookie Alonzo Trier and Durant became somewhat close when Trier was coming up as a basketball prospect in high school in Oklahoma City. Durant was sort of a mentor to him and went to a few of his high school games. They still keep in touch according to Alonzo. The big player connection is DeAndre Jordan. He was one of the players the Knicks got back in the Porzingis trade, which I will go into detail of why it was important. KD is on record saying that DeAndre is a real friend in the league. If you remember back in 2016, the Clippers made a presentation for KD to join the Clippers, and KD was shocked at how good their presentation was. Right now, from how I'm looking at it, DeAndre is basically a spy for KD, and his opinion of how the Knicks run the team will be reported back to KD. The Knicks definitely are aware of their friendship and are going to keep DeAndre happy. If you remember, KD recently said on a podcast that nobody can recruit him anymore, so my guess is when KD is a free agent, he's going to do what LeBron did last year and probably not have any formal meetings with different teams. Instead, one of the things he'll most likely do is call up his friend DeAndre Jordan in a few months and ask him about the Knicks experience so he can use that information as a factor in his decision. Another kind of interesting player connection is Lance Thomas, who has one more year on his contract with the Knicks. KD is on record saying that Lance Thomas is his favorite player and favorite person in the league from the battles that they had. KD is also cool with one of the Knicks assistant coaches, Royal Ivey. Him and KD played together in OKC and both went to Texas, just not at the same time. On Twitter 6 years ago, KD was doing a Q&A and said that Royal Ivey was his best friend in the league. But on the flip side of this, Royal Ivey was one of the people to meet with KD in June 2016 to convince him to stay in OKC, and he didn't stay. It's going to be KD's personal decision, but it's good that the Knicks have someone on the bench KD can confide with if he decides to come. The last Knicks connection is general manager Scott Perry. If you did not know, Perry was the assistant GM for the Sonics when they drafted KD in 2007. Now, I don't think this is too big of a deal, but it isn't a negative when your two main basketball executives have good connections to Durant. So those are some connections worth speculating about, but at the same time, KD has connections all around the league, but the Knicks have some slightly more interesting ones. Let's rewind the clock a little bit and talk about when I first got thoughts of, oh okay, KD really might leave in 2019 or 2020. Back in June 2018, an article on ESPN dropped called "What Does Kevin Durant Want?" It was basically talking about his role on the Warriors, how he's the only player alongside Michael Jordan who has 4 scoring titles and 2 Finals MVPs, and what makes him tick as a person. In that article, Steve Kerr and Steve Nash are on record saying they felt that KD was disconnected from the team and he began to drift after the first championship. Steve Nash, who is a consultant for the Warriors, said this: "He did not have a great summer. He was searching for what it all meant. He thought a championship would change everything and found out it doesn't. He was not fulfilled. He didn't work out as much as he normally does." That's not some Twitter person saying, haha, KD's rings mean nothing. That's from someone right in the Warriors organization. When I really started to believe the KD Knicks rumors was when ESPN's Zach Lowe said this in an interview. If you think the KD Knicks noise is bogus, it's not. I'm not saying he's going there. I'm saying they are absolutely planning their offseason around him. Absolutely 100%. And what happened at the 2019 trade deadline? The Knicks were able to offload 2 of their worst contracts in Courtney Lee and Tim Hardaway Jr. by including their 23-year-old all-star Kristaps Porzingis. So we can say that podcast quote from back in July was true. The plan is right in our faces. The Knicks are not just chasing one max free agent, but 2 of them this summer. The Warriors season has been hit by internal drama, and KD can't blame the media for these moments. We all remember when Draymond and KD got into an argument on the bench before overtime started against the Clippers in November. The conversation went from, "That turnover was terrible, Draymond," to, "Yo, KD, shut the hell up. We won games before you joined, and we're gonna keep winning games even if you leave." Like, how crazy is that? Draymond throws a bomb on the entire season in the first couple of weeks. KD's free agency has loomed over the team because of these one-year deals he keeps signing. And around 2 weeks ago, Draymond is on record saying if he leaves, cool. If he doesn't, then that's cool too, but we're still going to win another championship here with him, so nothing else matters. So even with some reporters just trying to clout chase the Knicks story, KD's free agency has emerged into the Warriors locker room. That's just a fact. The second moment was when Kevin Durant was pretty unhappy speaking to the media when he got asked about free agency.
"I have nothing to do with the Knicks. I don't know who traded Porzingis. They got nothing to do with me. I'm trying to play basketball."
Now, to put that interview into context, that was on February 7th. The Porzingis trade was on February 1st. KD was on day 7 of not speaking to the media, so there were some questions about why he went silent. KD speaks to the media all the time. Why is he going quiet now? It gave credence to the people he was complaining about. It really did. You gotta put some of that on KD. He's signing these one-year deals with a player option and leaving the Knicks rumors open to interpretation. It's one thing to take a few days off from talking to the media, but it's another thing to avoid the media for a week after the team you're supposedly going to in the summer just made a trade so they can sign you and your friend. KD is pretty comfortable speaking about many different situations that don't involve him around the NBA, so going 0 dark 30 right after the Porzingis trade was weird. So why would KD join the Knicks? They can't offer him the most money, and they don't have the roster unless some additional moves are made after he joins. KD is on record saying that he wants to make the most money on his next deal. The Warriors can offer him a 5-year, $221 million deal. The Knicks and every other team that has space can only offer 4 years, $164 million. So other teams can offer him a lot of money, but the Warriors have the clear edge in years plus money. I don't want to speak for him, but I'm sure playing in New York is somewhat appealing. Most Knicks fans love Melo, even though he only won 1 playoff series and he took a lot of the heat from the media. An NBA Finals appearance or even a few conference finals appearances would have KD treated like a god in New York. Now, if you are Kevin, you probably would not like to see the Knicks accidentally have your face on the season ticket plan for next year's season and it get taken down because it sort of implies you're coming next season. Plus, you got Knicks owner James Dolan flexing on interviews, hinting on air that the Knicks will get free agents. And as much as people hate James Dolan, pretty much every Knicks player outside of Charles Oakley likes him. If Dolan ever had a good quality as an owner, it is spending money. He has no problem spending money on players, which has been a good and bad thing in his career. It's going to be funny when KD wins his 3rd straight Finals MVP, then he has an epiphany about the ownership, the Warriors players, the new arena, and be like, what am I thinking? And then he signs a 5-year max. I saw this one on Twitter. KD also seems like the type to be like, oh, all these Knicks stories are out here, I'm gonna leave to New York, but I'm gonna go to Brooklyn instead and play with D'Angelo Russell. But let's be honest, the Knicks are way more popular than the Nets, and KD can win a lot of hearts if he wins one championship with the Knicks. He'd have a better shot at winning regular season MVPs and would have the offense built around him, if KD cares about that stuff, of course. I don't want to speak for him, but it's there. A lot of this feels like the early LeBron rumors about him going to the Lakers, when we all thought it was a joke of a story, so I'm not going to be shocked if I see the notification on my phone about KD going to the Knicks. So the truth is, there's truth on both sides. The noise about the Knicks story has a lot of BS to it, but at the same time, there's a lot here that suggests, at the very least, the Knicks will be an option for him this summer. Even NBA players who answered a survey anonymously said that they believe KD will play for the Knicks next year. I hope this one was interesting to listen to. If you made it to this part of the video, you're a real one, and I'll see you guys soon for some playoff talk.